Welcome to Planet in My Pocket, the continuing adventures of Leonora Livingston Peabody.
Let's pack our bags and go safari around the globe with Leonora, explorer. Where savage natives roam, she'll make us feel at home. Leonora, explorer, Leonora, explorer.
So let's start with the most challenging continent, the dark continent. Home of Tarzan and Jane. Home of people who actually worship voodoo dolls and put bones through their noses and wear funny costumes and speak languages that none of us can understand. Of course, they have very sensuous movements, but we won't talk about that. The reason you want to go to the dark continent is really not so much to see the people, but to see the animals and go to the game park. And you can actually go to the game park and avoid people. When I first went to Africa, I was told by a doctor that the most dangerous thing in Africa was not the animals or the people, but the germs. And the germs were transmitted through the fecal film. And the fecal film is everywhere, and it's particularly on our hands. So I recommend carrying plastic gloves. And when you shake hands with people, shaking hands with the plastic glove, they'll hardly notice, especially if you have white plastic gloves. Also, you would probably want handy wipes to use on surfaces that you touch regularly. Well, it may sound that Africa is a very difficult place, and indeed it is, with the duplicitous people and having to watch your luggage all the time to make sure that no one's going to steal it, and the germs and the disease and the heat. But nonetheless, the babies are just so sweet. You really want to take them home with you. Welcome to another episode of Planet in My Pocket with Leonora Livingston Peabody.
Let's pack our bags and go safari around the globe with Leonora, explorer. Where savage natives roam, she'll make us feel at home. Leonora, explorer, Leonora, explorer.
Another favorite destination of mine is Mexico. Mexico, as they say. Viva Mexico. Let's find it here on the map. Where is it? Ah, here we have it. Now, I believe that the two foci of your travels should be the ancient ruins and the natural features. As for the ancient ruins, they are very complexly constructed and took a great deal of planning and forethought. In fact, there is evidence to believe that they were not constructed by the ancestors of the current Mexican population, but by people who came from outer space. But I don't want to be controversial about that, although it is my personal opinion. You'll probably have to go to a Mexican hotel. And Mexican hotels are just not at all like hotels in the good old US of A. For example, the rooms are dimly lit, the beds are rather small, the pillows are hard, and the television, believe it or not, is in Spanish.
Adios, amigo.
This brings me to one of my really pet peeves. I don't understand why Mexicans don't speak English. For example, they're so close to America. Why don't they speak English? Perhaps it's because they don't want us to know what they're saying. It's a secretive aspect of their character. And of course, there's the fecal film everywhere, just as I told you about Africa. You'll need to carry your plastic gloves and your handy wipes. However, there's a very positive side to the Mexicans. That's their fun-loving, fiesta-loving, dancing, musical quality. And of course, the little brown bambinos. They will really touch your heart as they stand on corners begging for pennies. You'll just want to take them home with you.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an Action News Bulletin.
The FBI has launched an interstate search for Dr. Carla Akeley, who escaped late last night from the Prickly Pear Institute for the Criminally Insane. The prominent anthropologist and self-taught taxidermist, also popularly known as Stitches, was committed to the maximum security asylum 3 years ago, when the bodies of 6 exotic human specimens were discovered in her basement, eviscerated, stuffed, and costumed. She referred to this gruesome display as her Museum of World Cultures, and had intended to complete the collection when a conviction and 12 consecutive life sentences foiled her plans. Clues to Akeley's whereabouts are slim, but this excerpt from an interview conducted shortly before her arrest offers one possible lead.
I once said in a professional meeting where people like Clara Lee Tanner were in the audience, I said, why doesn't anybody study the women who are selling plastic jewelry outside the restrooms at the rest stop at up on the freeway on the way to Phoenix? And people went, oh!
Highway patrolmen have been dispatched to stake out all rest stops along Interstate 10. Police efforts to locate Stitches have been complicated by her remarkable ability to transform her appearance and blend seamlessly into any cultural milieu. Arizona residents are advised to adhere to a sunset curfew and to report any suspicious activity immediately to the police. Stay tuned for further updates as the search progresses. For Action News, I'm Nevada Jones.